Hi guys, and welcome to the new series, Thunderstorms, written and narrated by Stacey Holt. This series is also another 13-part, just like the other series, Melting. I'm not sure who the artist is, but if anyone knows, just please tag them for me and I'll give them the credit. And as always, please like, subscribe, and if you'd like to leave a comment to support the series, I'd really appreciate it. Now, Chapter 1, Heartache. What to do? She never would have thought that he would be so reckless as to reveal his identity to her. They always joked about it, but she never thought he would take her seriously. Though he didn't know she knew. Was that even fair? She tried to get home before her transformation, and she saw him de-transform in an alley near the bakery. Why was he near her house anyways? She was so careful that he wouldn't figure out her identity, but never would have thought that he was Adrian Agreste, famous fashion designer Gabriel Agreste's son, her classmate, her friend, her crush. This was too much to handle. She could feel her heart beat in her chest as her throat started to tighten. She was holding her breath. She forgot to breathe. Marinette inhaled and exhaled, trying to clear her thoughts, but every time she tried to clear her thoughts, Adrian and Noir popped into her head. Was she the one that was reckless? She was the one who found out, not him. Wait. How was she supposed to act around Noir now? She could barely muster a sentence around Adrian, let alone have a full-out Akuma fight and focus on the pressure of saving Paris. This was bad. She sat down in her chair on top of the balcony and huffed, throwing her arm over her eyes to shield them from the summer sun. Marinette? She heard a voice from her bedroom. She leaped up and walked down the ladder to find Adrian? What was he doing? In her bedroom? How did he get inside? Why was he here? Why did he look calm about it? Did he not know that he had the biggest crush on the century on her? Well, not her. He had a crush on Ladybug. Her heart ached. He didn't love her. He loved the ideal, confident image of her, the superhero inside of her, that she couldn't be in her everyday life. Marinette collected her thoughts and smiled, making sure he didn't see any hints of heartache or sadness. Hey, Marinette. Hey, Adrian. What are you doing here? Marinette said, eyes darting to not make eye contact. Alia said you needed help with homework. She said she would text you after school to let you know I was coming. Adrian smiled. Alia? Text? There was an Akuma fight right after school. She couldn't get to her phone in time. The timing was awful, but she would admit Alia did always come through for her. Oh, yeah, homework. Wait, I left my bag at school! Marinette cried out, noticing that her phone and her bag were still in school. She was such in a rush with the Akuma fight that she must have forgotten it. I'm sorry you came all the way over here, but I can't do homework without my bag, Marinette sighed. Adrian stood silent while rubbing the back of his neck. Well, we have that design competition coming up. We don't have any written assignment on that, just a topic. I could help you with that if you'd like. Have you started on it yet? Adrian smiled. Marinette's eyes darted toward him and shook her head. She walked over to her desk and picked up her sketchbook and sat down at the chase. He followed her and sat down beside her. Marinette darted her eyes down toward the sketchbook, knowing that Adrian, the boy she loved, was in her bedroom. Not only that, but he was her partner, who loved Ladybug. The recurring thoughts kept repeating, and with each repeat dug into her heart like a dagger. Those are really cool, Marinette. What topic did you choose to do your design on? He asked, looking at the current page. Marinette sat in silence, still processing the thoughts that ran a mess in her mind. She quickly snapped out of it when he touched her hand. She jumped at his touch and looked over at him. What? My topic? Well, I chose weather, Marinette said softly. Weather? Yeah, like sunlight, wind, rain, snow, and fog. Depending on which type of weather I choose, I can make a design about that certain type. I'm not completely sure if I want that to be my final decision. It is a work in progress after all. Marinette gave a polite smile. That's not a bad idea, actually. I'm excited to see what you're going to create. He smiled back. It wasn't long until Adrian had to leave, and Marinette waved him goodbye. She retreated back to her bedroom, only to climb up to her bed and collapse from the emotional and physical exhaustion from that day. Tiki unclicked her purse and flew over to her, landing beside her head that laid on the pillow. She gave her a sad look and remained quiet, waiting patiently for Marinette to talk when she was ready. Marinette didn't say anything. She grabbed her pillow and blanket and submerged herself within them, like a caterpillar in its cocoon. If she hadn't found out the bitter truth about her partner, she knew she would have been ecstatic about spending the day with Adrian in her room. Tiki frowned as she heard quiet sniffles and crying under the blanket. She didn't know how to comfort her and thought it best to stay quiet. Hours later, she heard a thump on her balcony window and climbed up and unlatched the lock. Down came Cat Noir, a smile on his face. It wasn't unusual for him to come inside late at night and make himself comfortable on her chase. The first few times he had said his life at home was rough, and she imagined him to be poor or homeless, but now she knew he was just a rich model boy from class. Was it not the place that he missed? Was it companionship and friendship he sought when he stayed over? Marinette knew he was always lonely being confined to the house, almost all of his life, but never thought he would be so lonely that he would leave his huge mansion-like house to sleep in an upstairs bakery. Marinette had cried out her frustrations and decided to not say anything to him about sleeping there, though she was still a little nervous that her crush was sleeping at her home. She drifted back to sleep after giving him a blanket and pillow to sleep on, and turned back off the lights. The next morning came, and she found him sleeping on the chase, curled up in blankets. She wondered if it was wrong to wake him, or should she let him sleep a few more hours. She went to the bathroom to take a shower and to get ready for school. When she came back, he was gone, though there was a little note stuck to the pillow he slept on next to the folded up blankets. "Thank you, Princess. Today was a rough day. I'm glad I can always count on you." There was a little paw print and a heart at the bottom where his signature would be, making Marinette give a smile. "Marinette, you're going to be late for school," Tiki chimed in. Marinette looked at the time and rushed out of the house, barely making it to class before the last bell. She took her usual seat and reached inside her bag, pulling out her unfinished homework. She quickly filled out the homework before the teacher collected them up. Good thing she didn't really need tutoring for this lesson. She was actually good at art history for a change. Adrian glanced back at her and smiled, though Marinette only waved back, a smile not forming on her face as it normally did. She made it back home without any trouble, and actually brought her bag home this time. "Great. Time to do more homework," she groaned. A few hours passed, and she needed to stretch her arms and legs, so she went out on the balcony. To her surprise, the sun hadn't quite gone down yet, and was peeking over the city like a golden warm ray. The colors of orange, pink, and red scattered through the sky, creating a breathtaking landscape that no camera could capture. She spotted a black silhouette bouncing around the rooftops as the shadow draped beneath it. It was Cat Noir. How much time did Adrian spend as Cat Noir? Did he like being Cat Noir more than being himself? Marinette looked at Tiki, who gave her a nod and a smile, telling her it was okay if she wanted to go talk to him. She transformed and zipped her way towards him. He was sitting on a rooftop edge, watching the sunset fall beneath the horizon, the golden rays bouncing off of his blonde curls and reflecting in his green eyes. Ladybug took a seat next to Cat Noir, who was extremely surprised to see her there. "My lady, is there an Akuma I wasn't aware of?" he asked, slight panic in his eyes. "No, I needed to talk to you," Ladybug said, keeping her eyes focused on the sunset to avoid his gaze. "Talk?" She could tell he was confused and a little worried. Who wouldn't be afraid of that sentence? She hated wording it like that, but she needed him to take this seriously. "Yesterday, she began. "I kicked that Akuma's butt. Yeah, I know. Perfectly as always," he smiled, laughing at his own cat joke to break the tension. "Yesterday you were reckless," Ladybug exclaimed, her eyes darting to his to show how serious she was. "Reckless? What do you mean? I didn't have a scratch on me." He smiled again. You don't understand." Ladybug looked down at her feet, not knowing if she should say something or not. "Ladybug, you can talk to me. We're partners," he reassured her. We're More than partners, she corrected him. His ears flicked at her choice of words that caused him to blush. You love Ladybug, she said with a sigh. He opened his mouth to say something, but Ladybug interrupted him. You don't love the civilian me. She clenched her hands together and crossed her legs, trying her best not to tear up. I love you with or without the mask, my lady, he smiled, putting his hand on her hands. See, this is where you're wrong. Yesterday I saw you de-transform. You don't love me. You love this version of me. Ladybug started to cry and stood up, breaking his hand away from hers. Ladybug, wait! He yelled. She pulled out her yo-yo and zipped away, leaving Cat alone on the rooftop with his thoughts. Thank you so much for watching. The next chapter will be out soon. Again, if you'd like to stay up to date, go ahead and hit that notification button, and I'll see you in the next chapter. Bye guys!